Hey everybody, it's Mary. Welcome back. Today I want to talk to you about fitting pants. And frankly, this will be the beginning of fitting pants because pants are quite complicated garments to fit properly. I'm very fortunate to have this test garment here sewn in muslin and an opportunity for us to talk about or start talking and having a conversation about how pants should be fitted and hang on the body. This, as I mentioned, is a utility cloth. It's done in muslin, which is a common practice for when we either draft our own patterns for pants or we are using a commercial pattern that we've purchased in the store. So here's what happens. You go to the store or you draft your own pattern using the largest measurement. Okay, that's how you're going to purchase your pattern. And in this case, being that this person is heavier on the bottom and more of a triangular shape, that she would have bought her pattern or drafted her pattern based on her big hip measurement. Okay, so let's put that out there first. So given that she has to accommodate that part of her body, we see as a result that there are many other problems occurring because this has to be wide enough to accommodate the largest part of the body. So let's begin. When I look at a pair of pants or any garment to do a fitting, I will start at the top of the garment and work my way down. Also, I like to find a balance. So I'm going to look in the front here and see that there are, yes, some issues here. And I'm also going to turn and look in the back. But really, when it comes to pants, I want to see that this side seam is hanging straight or perpendicular from the ground up or from the ceiling down, however you want to say that. And that'll determine, for me, where I'm going to start addressing the fitting issues here. I see that her side seam is not hanging straight. If she can turn back to me for a sec, I can see that we need to pull these pants towards the back. So I'm going to go to the back of the pant first. So if you don't mind turning for me, I'm going to go to the center back. And yes, everybody has a sway back. It's part of what happens as a result of our lifestyles. Most of us are sitting down for the majority of the day at a computer or at some part of the day, or in the fashion industry, we're sitting at sewing machines, etc. But it seems that every single person has a sway back these days. And it's become more prevalent than ever. She needs to take in, right off the bat, 3/4 of an inch on the center back seam. As we go down, I'm going to keep going down. I see more issues here. So I'm going to take, yes, a little more off the width. But when it comes to pants, there are multiple directions of shapes and fabric that are intersecting. So here I'm going down, then I'm going to turn and go underneath her bottom of her body, the contours of her body, which is the crotch area. So now I've got lines that are going down but are connected to lines that are going across her body as well. And that's why it becomes so sticky to get these pants fitting properly. So I've gone down the center back seam as much as I can. Now the issues are becoming crotch issues and height issues. I'm going to use a marker to highlight and mark these areas so that they don't disappear, and transfer the information or take it with me from the fitting to when I go to correct the patterns. As you can see here, a whole bunch of fabric and bunching. So I'm going to keep trying to take some of this off vertically. But now I see that this is hanging down, and the issue is not something that I can remove by going down, by continuing to follow the center back seam. What has to happen is that the crotch seam needs to come up. Okay? So that is in the patterns. It's hard now to build up that crotch seam, and I would say offhand, just from what I see, please make note that I am sitting and trying to face my individual and the garment that I'm fitting at an eye level. That is important. Before I go further down the leg, I want to finish up with this area before I move down. And as I see here, or maybe because of what I've done, I see that these darts need to now be moved over. And to me, they look a little bit too long based on what I'm seeing, again, the contours or the shape of her body. So what I've ended up doing is moving over towards the side seam, these back darts, at least 1 inch and probably 1 1/4 inch. It's a complicated thing, guys, and we're going to have to talk about this some more. I'm going to go down the back of the leg simply because I want to finish up with the back area so we can take a look at side seam and the front before this gets a bit too lengthy. Now what's happening here in her leg, in her back, after she's got a beautiful butt, nice round shape, and we can't see it because there's so much fabric and excess fabric here, now bunching up, and I'm going to pin and then mark that so that we can see what we have to do when it comes to the patterns. And here I am removing only from the back. Now people tend to, because we are taught in pattern making to keep things balanced and maybe do what we do on the back to the front, pants are the exception here. So this back area beyond her buttocks or the lower contours of her body, we have to remove, and that will maybe go into the leg shape that we want, or maybe not. It'll just stop here, and we can fit more effectively around the lower part of her back body and define this area and not make it look so sloppy, simply because we had to accommodate the hips. So I'd like you now to turn towards the side. Thank you. And I want to see that the side seam is hanging straight, as I mentioned. I can use my little soutache, and I have a feeling I need to have a quick look. We're still tipping towards the front, so I'm going to come in here with my marker and rectify the location of the side seam. And in spite of the adjustment I just made to the back leg, I see that that leg now is hanging straight. So was that wrong to begin with? I don't know. I don't really care. The point is that I have fixed it now, okay? Let's take a look at the front, because there's a whole bunch of things happening there as well. First thing I see here is that this may be sitting here comfortably, and there's enough ease in terms of width at her waist. That's fine. I want to talk about the level of her waist in a minute, but after these darts here, there's some darts, and that's a typical thing that we find in patterns, that there's this XS, and that's giving me a clue. So what am I looking for when I do fittings? Wrinkles or gaping. That's what gives me the clues or the indication that something is wrong. I should not have wrinkles pulling across. I see slight wrinkles pulling, or I should not have this gapy bunching up amount of fabric. To me, this bunchiness says that these darts must be released and removed, and so we're going to go then to the front once we've removed that and remove all this extra fabric through the center front. Oh boy, and I thought this was going to be a short video, but take into consideration that the darts are gone and do not need to be there. If she wants darts or pleats, I'm going to take them 1, 2, almost 3 inches over and reposition them here almost on the side of her front body where it is flatter and is a more logical place to put this. What I'm doing here by putting the darts right where they are is drawing attention to this area of the body, which I do not want to, okay? So I'm going to take them away from here and move them over here. And yes, pants have darts, and we may even want to put pleats for styling. We even want to put in some slash pockets and other detailing. You don't want to stick it right in the front here where she's got other issues going on in terms of her body shape. So I've taken and pinched here, and I'd probably be able to pinch it all the way up another 3/4, 5/8 to 1/4. You would measure from the marker and then put this flat down on the table and transfer or take that information and apply it to your patterns. What I want to do and finish off, and we have endless amount of videos that we could do in order to fit pants properly. In fact, that is why I've developed a course, a subject unto itself about making pants. Okay, so drafting the patterns for pants, fitting pants and having them comfortable. If you're a woman and you've ever worn pants, you know what I'm talking about. They are not comfortable, and we strive to find comfort in our pants because they are so practical and they keep us warm in the winter and they keep us stylish throughout the year. However, fitting them and wearing them is another story and a different problem. We're going to finish off with a little piece of soutache, and we're going to just wrap that around her waist. Believe it or not, yes, this is her waist. And if you don't have a string or a piece of soutache, this is a corded, fancier kind of cord to tie around your waist. Also a little piece of elastic, that's how I learned it. A very fine elastic will work, and that'll automatically, what it does, can you turn a little bit for us? And you can see that this cord now is falling into her actual waist position. I'm now going to touch the bottom or the top of that cord, and I will know exactly where those pants and their waist should be sitting. And that, now this waistband looks awful, and this is why. Because it's not sitting in the correct position. This naturally and automatically happens. Then we remove the waistband and we relocate it sitting on the proper location. Let's leave it there for now, for today. Have a try and see if you can identify some of these challenges when fitting pants, and furthermore, see if you can correct them. I'll see you soon. Thanks.